From the time I was little, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. There was no mistaking that. And then when I was in high school, life kind of threw me a curveball and was like, nope, you want to be a musician. So I picked up the flute when I was in 4th grade, and I wanted to quit because it was very difficult and I couldn't read music, but my mom told me that I had to stick with it, and I got very angry at her, but I continued to practice and I definitely improved. And from that point on, it was more like a competition to see how good I could be or how high I could place in the ensemble. There's this song called Carnival Overture. It's by Dvorak, and it's one of the most difficult pieces I've played. And that year was my senior year of high school. I made the deal with my mom that I was going to place first, and I was going to play this solo that was in it. And my mom was like, okay, well, let's do it. And I placed first, I got the solo, and then I played it. And when the crowd applauded, I was just like, oh, wow. Like, I knew I couldn't give it up for the rest of my life. And I think at that point, I had decided that I really needed to be a music major in college and then figure out med school afterward. When I was in high school, my band director at the time was from the Pittsburgh area, and I explained to him that I was very interested in music, but I also still wanted to be a doctor, and I wasn't sure how I could combine the two. And he mentioned the music therapy program at Duquesne, and I was like, what's that? So I did a little bit of research, and here I am. Music therapy is often prescribed for pain or agitation, especially in children with autism or the elderly with dementia and Alzheimer's. And I think it's really neat to see the overlap between music and medicine. Last semester I was doing my practicum. It was really interesting because I was working with patients with dementia. You can take as many medical precautions as you want, like giving medication in order to decrease agitation or pain, but to me it never interacts with the patients the same way that music does. There was a client who was never very lucid. She's always sort of agitated and couldn't think straight, couldn't think through her sentences. But the music therapist would then play music related to the client's childhood, and it would be familiar to her, and she'd start singing, and suddenly she wouldn't want to leave anymore. And she would know all the lyrics even though she couldn't find a coherent sentence, and when the song was over, she'd sit back down in her chair. That's why I chose music therapy, and that's why I'm happy I decided to follow my dream.